many of you at this point think if I were to give you a test today that you would do A or B on the test? You know the terms. Okay, so let's do a little quick review. Because we're up to 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 words. Today will be our 8th word. But you know that you're learning kind of double that because you also look for another form, another part of speech, you implement it in a sentence. So we're going to do this together where I'm going to give you the word and I want you as a class, okay, to give me the definition. So when the definition comes to you, just say it out loud. Don't raise your hands or anything. Low risk. If you're wrong, it doesn't matter, okay? We'll just keep moving on. Okay, so we'll start with definition first. I'll give you the term, you say the definition. Okay, inclement. Harsh. Nice. Harsh or stormy. Loquacious.
Excessive talking.
Good, excessive talking. If you wrote talkative, you'd get credit as well. Am I doing the opposite? Recalcitrant. Nice, Brian, stubborn to authority. Precarious.
Dangerous.
Nice. Dangerous. Ostracize. Good. Leave out. Okay, to exclude. Egregious.
Out of the
Out of the ordinary. Now, is egregious usually a positive or negative?
Negative.
Yeah, it carries a negative connotation, so you would use it, okay, in a negative way. Lugubrious. Sad or mournful. I'm going to do the opposite now. Okay, I'm going to give you the definition and you partner it up with the word. The words are right up here on the wall if you need to reference them. Okay, you also have your packet. So, mournful. Good. Dangerous. To exclude. Stubborn to authority. Notably bad. Stands out for a bad reason. Egregious. Nice. Talkative.
Loquacious.
Loquacious. Good. Let's try part of speech. Okay, so I will say the word, and you say the part of speech that matches. Okay, so I say the word, you're going for part of speech. Recalcitrant. Good. It describes. Egregious. Ostracize. Nice. Precarious. Loquacious. Lugubrious. Inclement. Lots of adjectives, and we've got one, okay, verb today. Now this one, you could have more than one answer, so you might say something different than the person next to you because we're going with other forms. So I'm going to give you a word and you give me another form of the word. You know when you're working with those parts of speech there are more, okay? There's more than one answer. Okay, so recalcitrant. Good. I heard people say recalcitrancy. Is there any other form that you know? No, I think it's just recalcitrancy. What part of speech is that? It's a noun. Good. Okay. The state of being stubborn. Watch the pattern, the ending. Recalcitrancy. Okay. Yeah.
Did you say recalcitrant?
That's what I was wondering. Anyone have that in their packet? Anyone have that form in your packet? When we get to the new words today, look that up, Sean. Okay. So other forms. Lugubrious. Good. NESS, the state of being. Okay, mournful. Anyone use the adverb form? Yeah, we know that one, lugubriously. You can definitely add an ly. Okay, we know lots of verb forms. You just change the ending to ostracize. What's another part of speech? Another form that's another part of speech. Ostracism, good. Ostracizing is still a verb, okay? Present tense verb, ing. Ostracism changes it to a noun. What about precarious?
Precariously.
Good, I heard. Yep, I heard one, noun precariousness, and also precariously. Okay, flip to the front of your packet. We're on word number 8. Okay, word number 8 today. Remember, I'll pronounce the word a couple times and ask you to pronounce it together as a class. A few times. So the new word for today is truculent. Like the new word is truculent. Okay, together. 1, 2, 3.
Truculent.
Again, 1, 2, 3. Truculent. One more time, everybody. 1, 2, 3. Truculent. Okay, go ahead and try and spell truculent correctly using your phonics skills. Hugo, although you might be wrong. Hugo? Got it. You know what the word means, don't say it out loud. Do you know what it means? Anyone know what this word, don't say it out loud, but anyone experience the word or know what it means? Wait, he's kind of getting maybe, so we'll see as we go. So one of you, but truculent, how many of you spelled it correctly? Usually people get this word truculent correctly, they might add a K to it, okay? Truculent, okay, truculent. Okay, I'll read a sentence with the word in it, okay? You are doing 3 things on your worksheet. Crystalline, what are the 3 things? I read the sentence and you do what?
You find a person you know,
Yep, and what else?
and then you guess the name,
And then the third?
and then you check the meaning and figure out the place.
Yeah, the check the meaning, we do that later, so you're doing clues, guess, and then part of speech. Okay, trying to guess that part of speech. Okay, the sentence is, the truculent expression on the bulldog's face makes him an effective deterrent to thieves. The truculent expression on the bulldog's face makes him an effective deterrent to thieves. The truculent expression on the bulldog's face makes him an effective deterrent to thieves. When you have all 3 things done, clues, a guess, and a part of speech, I want you to stand. Just wait for the majority to figure out when we need to move on. The truculent expression on the bulldog's face makes him an effective deterrent to thieves. Okay, good. Go ahead and take a seat. Okay, so let's start with part of speech. Okay, part of speech. Raise your hand if you feel pretty darn certain that you know the part of speech for this. Even if you don't know the definition, raise your hand. Pretty certain, part of speech. Okay, so quite a few of you. Keep your hand up if you don't mind guessing. Part of speech. You might be wrong. Jack? It is an adjective. How many of you thought it was an adjective? How do you know it's an adjective? Okay, yeah.
It's describing something.
Good. What word in the sentence do you remember that it was describing?
The expression on the
Good.
dog's face.
Okay, so it's got truculent expression. So in terms of context clues, Harrison, what words did you write down?
Expression and these.
Anybody else write any? Expression for sure you should have down. What else did you write down?
On his, his expression on his face.
Who, his, because
On the dog.
what kind of dog? Bulldog, okay? Why did they give you that clue out of all the dogs? Why did they put bulldog? Yeah, so it works, okay? So remember, when you guys are going to, even writing your own sentence, you want to control the diction, okay? Work with your syntax, okay? All the specific concrete details. Even in one sentence, you want to practice good writing skills. The sentence is good because it doesn't just say dog, it says bulldog. All right, who's got an idea what it might mean? Aaron, what do you think? Yeah, but we need something more intense than scary. Okay, yeah.
Intimidating?
That's better. Ooh, that's really good.
Eerie.
Not so much. Any other guesses? Yeah, Zach? That's also, it's savage or fierce. Savage or fierce. Savage or fierce. Okay, next step is to do what, Ryan? Yep, flip in there. Find another part of speech and create a well-crafted sentence. Another part of speech. So you got a couple options in terms of tools. A lot of you are reaching for the dictionary. Some of you are reaching for your phone. Remember, you can use that. You're looking for another part of speech, okay, for this word.
Savage.
Lots of options with this word.
Yes, it's truculent. No.
Yeah.
Yeah. This is like, isn't the race? Yeah, me. Okay. Yeah, we have make it try it.
Yeah.
Yes. Yes. Yes.
Her textbook.
Okay, Isabella is tracking discussion, and Isabella, you're going to start tracking when we share, okay, if you share your sentence. So we have truculent as an adjective. Okay, as I walked around, some of you use truculent C. Okay, and Preston, what part of speech is truculent C?
I didn't do that.
What do you think? What's your guess? It is a noun. Okay, so we end with a CY, and it's the state of being savage or fierce. There's also truculently, and Olivia, what part of speech is that?
That's an adverb.
Adverb. How do you use an adverb?
To describe a verb.
Describe a verb, describe an action. Good. So we have truculent, we have truculent C, we have truculently. Any other forms? Yeah, what was the other form?
Truculent.
Truculence. Preston, what do you think?
I'm gonna have to go with maybe in the
I'm God, he's like, oh, no. So he's got a sense of patterns, okay, and words. Preston, what did you ultimately decide?
Noun.
It's a noun. Okay, so it's another form, okay, another noun form of the word. Okay, let's hear some sentences now. Okay, Jordan.
The grizzly bear truculently clawed Harrison's face.
Good. Truculently clawed hair, and it's a grizzly bear. Okay, so not just the animal, but again, she's controlling good writing with even within a sentence. Okay, I want to say Chelsea. Is that okay? Chelsea.
The wrestler's truculence intimidated his opponent.
Nice. The wrestler's truculence intimidated his opponent. Beautiful sentence. Okay, Preston, I'm giving you a lot of attention. Sean, what do you think?
The guard truculently beat down the intruders that were trying to steal from his company.
Nice. Truculently deep down there, yes, absolutely. You have to have good truculent security guards, okay, for them to be effective. What did you think? Yeah. Jack?
Gary Winthorpe's chunky legs resulted in him going to jail.
Who's?
Gary Winthorpe's.
Oh, is Gary Winthorpe an actual person?
You don't know
Yeah.
No, who is it?
Look, he's a cowboy.
He's a cowboy.
Yeah, look him up.
Like a football player cowboy or cowboy cowboy?
No,
He's a cowboy. He's just, oh, then that, Jack, that's beautiful. That's perfect. All right, Olivia.
Daniel's truck the ones made bullies at school not pick on him.
Oh, it's kind of a threat, huh? Savageness or fierceness. Okay, tell me your name again. Matt, I was gonna say that, I swear. Madison.
The turkey has been thrown on my mother's face and I'm not about to argue with him.
Good, nice. Your writing, even within these sentences, is so much better than when we first started. It really, really is. Okay, Zach, what's your sentence?
The lion was truculently attacking the intruding gazelle.
Yeah, gazelle? Nice. The lion truculently was attacked the gazelle. Perfect. Okay, so let's move to your comp book. Okay, and I'd like you to open that up and then record these. I think it just affected me. But while we're doing this, Whitman, can you try to get my technology working? Okay, I want to talk to you about your grade in your comp book. So this is right before we go into kind of a new mode of writing, for us anyway, not a new mode of writing that you have never been exposed to. So it is summary writing. Your comp book has been scored for the first time. So I'm going to use Ruben's as an example. I'm going to put his underneath the camera. Because what I do with, just similar to if you look over on the wall, and I know some of you are looking at the top picks for your expository essays, I have not scored your essays yet. I've scored other classes, okay? They will not be getting their essays back until I'm done with yours, because I want to talk about the reassessment policy and also include some of yours up on the board, okay? So none of your essays have been scored. But each time I grade something in the grade book, I look for what I call top picks, okay? And I use those as models. I'm going to put them underneath the camera so you know what it is that I'm looking for you to score for you guys probably up at the exemplary level. If you can see what Ruben did and you have this model, I'm sure you are going to work up to the expectations of exemplary very easily. Similar to the academic discussion, this is entered your work in your daily work in your English comp book just once in the computer. Your academic discussion is also entered just once. However, it will change. So if we look at the first score up at the very top, okay, of the rubric, that is your academic discussion score that you received. That date, 9/22, that's September 25th. September 25th, your academic discussion, and I just highlighted it, where you were, what's currently been in the grade book since then.
I got 9 out of 22.
Most students do that at first. It's like, wait a second, what does the score mean? So that's the date. So you should know, I'm working already on that academic discussion. You essentially, it's forced reassessment. Okay, you know you're working on academic discussion and that grade is going to change by semester. It already has. We go down to your composition notebook. I scored that on the 11th for you guys, most of you. Some of you, I just got your book yesterday. Okay, so it says 10/11 or 10/16. Okay, that's October 11th or October 16th. I looked through, okay, your comp book and I highlighted, okay, where you were in terms of your levels of competency. Similar to academic discussion, you guys have an opportunity to reassess, okay, and increase that score. Your work from here on out, okay, will be your opportunity to reassess. I'm going to show you Ruben's. show you Ruben, so up here, he was, you guys know, for academic discussion, he participates a lot. So the think, pair, share that we do, the vocabulary at the very beginning, when I ask you to do that with your partner, he's completely focused, and he's with his partner, he's carrying on an academic discussion 100% of the time. Remember, I don't come over and correct you. You should know at this point what you should be doing with each level of academic discussion. So there were a couple of you when we went to the vocab right at the beginning, your attention was not on your partner, and it took you a little while to get focused, where majority of the class they were right in tune of what I was asking them to do. Okay, so when we go to the discussion, you've got the opportunity to think, pair, share. We talk about what it looks like, what it sounds like. Small group, what it looks like, what it sounds like. Popsicle call out, okay, we're going to do that. And full group, okay, voluntary. Where the risk, okay, gets higher and higher with each one. So most of you at this point are comfortable with think, pair, share. Okay, that gets you on the board in terms of credit. Okay. You can work well with a small group. When it goes to popsicle call out, that's where you have to share something from maybe your group or with your partner. You're speaking by yourself, that elevates it the risk a little bit more. And then certainly when I just ask for volunteers, like even with a sentence, that elevates the risk even higher. Okay. That warrants up here, okay, the different descriptions. So he's consistently, especially, we're talking about September 25th, okay, he was up at exemplary. When I score academic discussion again, he has to earn this again. It's not like, oh good, back in September, I got an exemplary for discussion, I no longer have to participate. Okay, so you should know that you need to be participating. Ruben, you know that, right? All right, so he's earning this again. We did add that small group discussion, okay, to the rubric as well, and that, okay, you guys agreed fell somewhere in the competency, okay, competent area. So you should have that written as well. Down here, if we look at the descriptors for your composition notebook, thorough preparation by reading, writing, and reflecting on the topic in the daily English composition notebook. Thorough, that's your key. We go down to ample additional notes are added. So you'll see what he did to show, well, what's ample compared to the one below it. The last one, written entries reflect perceptive examination of ideas, concepts, and information with ample elaboration. Okay, so that's the descriptor. So I fell, and some of you fall in different categories. So you might see, oh, you're highlighted up here and down here a little bit, and I kind of go where you fell in terms of an average. So here's Ruben's comp book. Okay, the things that I'm looking for, the learning target, the date, okay, the learning targets that are written, and then overall, okay, the thoroughness of the notes that you took for that particular day. I don't require you all to do Cornell notes, okay, or a Venn diagram, or a T-chart. You guys are taking notes in the fashion that's comfortable for you. So I'm not expecting one particular pattern. I am expecting notes though. Okay, as we go along, when we go to full class discussion, when you add on to your notes, you do that with a different color pen or marker. I've encouraged that from the beginning. I've repeated it over and over. Okay. Jordan, do you know why I would give you more credit if you add on to your notes?
Because you're adding on, so you're like making sure that you have everything and anything that you need.
Yeah, and what else does it show? Taylor?
You're participating.
Yeah, you're actively engaged in, even if you're not saying anything out loud, you're listening, you're actively engaged. I want to see that. So, as we go through, you can see with nearly every single page that Ruben has, he's added on during discussion. Okay, so you see lots of different colors. With his quick writes, all his quick writes, the quick writes were like 10 to 15 minute write. They were all done with elaboration, okay, consistently all the way through. Lots of adding on, okay, in a different color. Okay, lots of writing, different. So this, every single quick write was done, and was done with a lot of elaboration. Okay, the last thing I checked, you can just continue to see everything that he's added. The last thing I checked was, okay, that 2-paragraph response. Okay, so we're working our way into that research project, and we annotated an article together, okay, called Kaepernick, and then you were using that template, that 2-paragraph template. I had to push you guys a little bit because we didn't have class one day because of the PSAT. So I asked you to all walk out with your comp books and complete that either during Yeti and or as homework. Ruben had the entire 2-paragraph structure. He had it all done, otherwise he wouldn't be up at exemplary. Some of you didn't have everything done. Some of you, especially those that I asked for the book yesterday, okay, the ones that I scored the first time around had it done at Yeti and came back and dropped it off. But I also know that Yeti time could be a time where I need to study for math, or I need to do this particular homework. So, okay, you took it home, finished it, and were to turn it in. Some of you didn't have that done. It doesn't mean I don't want you to do it. I still need you to do it. Okay, so I probably made a little note in your book that you need to finish that 2-paragraph response. It's going to be really important for you when we go to the research project. Okay, that you know what I'm asking you to do in terms of annotating your articles for research and that 2-paragraph template. So, is it good?
You just do whatever you want, I'll just keep talking.
For most of you, what I did, and I didn't with Ruben, I took a couple pages, and if I didn't, if you could do this for yours, fold it like this, okay? And you're right, that just shows when I go to grade yours again, it will be an easy way to open up to this particular section. I've already looked at all this. Ruben got exemplary for all this. Ruben still has to work up to that capacity to remain at exemplary. All of you, okay, have the possibility, the potential to change that grade wherever you work to exemplary. It's kind of like a little fresh start. Here we go. Okay, so the pages are folded here. If you did not get that 2-paragraph, okay, response done, you still are accountable for that work. That's one of the last things I'll look for. Usually I make a little note too, so I remember to look back for that. So today, okay, after the page or two that you have folded, okay, the writing that we're going to do for summary writing will go on that next sheet. So today's date, I haven't changed it, but it's October 17th. Okay, so on your next page, put October 17th, and we're trying to get my PowerPoint up. Here we go, it's looking good. We'll record the learning targets, okay, and we'll continue. But before, okay, I just keep going along. Do you anybody have any questions about their comp book, the work, reassessing? You're all reassessing. It's like an academic discussion. Anybody have questions? You're all good? Okay, so you're working again. You're essentially reassessing. Okay, I showed you what Ruben did. Okay, if Ruben did it, you all can do it. Okay, thoroughness of your responses, making sure completion is done, adding on during discussion, all of those things I look for. I really appreciate it if you could remember to put the dates up at the top as well. I don't count you down if you forget that. Okay, but I'm flipping through. It's a really nice way to just kind of organize and know what you're doing when you were doing it. All right, so we've got 3 targets. We're moving into summary writing. Okay, and 3 targets today, okay, that you are recording underneath the date. Closely read an informational text by annotating it for the writer's central idea and structure. When you have that one copied down, discern key details the writer uses to provide evidence for his or her claim. And then number 3, synthesize the key details into bigger main ideas of each section in order to write an objective summary of the text. Just double check you have the date up at the top for me, a couple of you. Skip that part, it's easy to do. Okay, walking around, it looks like most people are on the 3rd one. Okay, it looks like most of you are done. If you're not, just keep, okay, recording, you're getting really close. We're gonna go to the strategy that I've used before, the what and the why, to make sure you understand the learning targets. So this is at developing, the think, pair, share. You should know what it looks like and what it sounds like to have a discussion with your table partner. Some people call it an elbow partner, okay? In terms of what does the learning target mean and why is it important? Why are we learning it? So any questions before turn to your partner? We'll go 2 or 3 minutes, okay, discussing all 3. What does it mean? Why is it important? I'd like you to take some notes in your book as well, based upon your discussion. And then we're gonna go full class, okay? So kind of record some ideas that you have in terms of what they mean, why it's important. If there's any vocab I used, okay, that you're not familiar with, make sure you look that up as well. Okay, go ahead and talk with your partner.
So for the first learning target, I think by showing the information because by integrating it, then you knowing more information on the topic and bringing it into the second learning target to make it to a bigger main idea that we're interested in.
Okay, so for the third target, I thought why and then during we're gonna write a summary after we're gonna write some. Okay, that's fine.
Use your tools if you're not sure of a word, look them up.
The way you said
Okay, so what and oh wait, that should be like
Provide evidence for your. So we make the details bigger.
When you and your partner are done, just have one person stand for me. All 3, what do they mean and why are they important? One of you stand, I'll know when to move on. Okay, go ahead and take a seat. As I was walking around, I saw lots of different ways, okay, to take notes. Okay, and that's what I encourage. I want you to know your own style, what works for you. So what ways did you guys approach just taking notes about this discussion? What did you use, Preston?
I wrote down what my partner Aaron was saying.
Okay, so just kind of capturing keywords or phrases based upon the discussion. So bulletin? Or did you write sentences more?
Sentences.
Okay, so you were doing, actually synthesizing the information. Here's the discussion and you captured it in a sentence. Okay, Jordan? T-chart. Okay, anything else? Yeah, Chelsea?
I numbered the targets and I numbered the notes that I took on each of them.
Good, good. What did you guys do? Okay, so Isabella says she did, Kayla did a T-chart, and I wrote some notes, okay, right above, okay, each of the targets. Anyone do Cornell notes? Okay, we've got a Cornell noter, okay, up here. Okay, so I want you to take notes in a style that makes sense to you. Okay, so you're trying to figure that out. What I'd like you to do now is number 1, and skip lines, okay, 1, 2, 3, right underneath, okay, these 3 learning targets. Number 1, number 2, number 3. Okay, now one person, doesn't matter to me, but one person, well, let's actually have the tallest person out of your pair go ahead and stand. If you're the tallest, go ahead and
Connor, you know when we have competitions like to see who stands up, like I've never stood up. I've lost every single one of them. I guess I've won already. Maybe you'll find someone that's
All right, so go ahead and give me your attention so you know what you're doing. We've done this before too. If you're standing, you're going to take your comp book and your writing utensil. This is a temporary move. Okay, so listen to the instructions before you move. When you sit down with your partner, you and your partner are going to rewrite the learning targets in your own language. You've got 3 of them. Okay, so you have to discuss them, what they mean, okay, and rewrite it. Both of you and your partner should have the same way of expressing the learning target. Go ahead and swap with someone in the room. Your partner.
Sorry, Chase.
Okay, so analyze a topic.
Zach's got a problem, help me solve it.
Analyze a topic.
Thank you, here we go. Okay, rewrite them, discuss them, rewrite them, right underneath. No. Okay, so check your partner here. Okay, walking around, looks like most people are almost done with number 1. Okay, so keep going, you've got 3, put in your own language.
Like I know what it means,
It looks like first and second row are almost done with number 2. Should be close. We've got some partners that are done, 1, 2, and 3. If you're finished, have a quick discussion. Why are we doing it? I just had you rewrite it, what they mean. Why are we doing it? Why is it important? All right, go ahead and give me your attention. Okay, I know not 100% of you are completely done. The majority are though. We've got probably about 95%. So we're going to open it up to discussion. Isabella's tracking for us. Okay, this is where you're volunteering. Okay, taking a little bit more risk, sharing an idea. We talk about what they mean. Okay, so what each of them mean, how you rewrote it. It might be a key word that I use that you looked up. A couple of you wanted me to give you a definition. I kind of pointed to the dictionary. Okay, some of you assumed your partner didn't know the word, and then your partner stepped up and said, oh, it means blah, blah, blah. Okay, so use your tools, and remember you're working with your partner. Okay, problem solve. You also have the opportunity to talk about why. Okay, why we're doing these particular learning objectives or targets. All right, Taylor, go ahead and start us. Either, whatever you want. Can you say it a little bit louder? Okay, so I want to know what annotate means. Nice. Okay. Lizzie.
For number 2, we wrote it as how the writer puts out information to express their feelings on a subject with evidence.
Yeah, express their feelings, or what would be another word that would be a little bit more appropriate for a text? I'm writing a text about Colin Kaepernick. I'm making a claim, not necessarily my feelings, my what? Opinion. Okay. Now remember, you could be writing notes, adding on, okay, to discussion, tracking it a different color. I saw some of you just flip. Okay, your pen or pencil. You also have pencil boxes, nice and handy. Okay, so you've got another writing utensil. All right. So what else do we have? Okay, Emma. Hold on, Emma. Everyone's kind of shuffling a little bit. All right, go, Emma.
So I think for number 2, it's about finding details that support the claim and aren't just like filler text that don't really support it.
Good. There is some text that will be kind of extraneous, extra. Okay, so you have to be able to read it and discern, well, what are the most important key details? Okay, you have to be selective. You're not highlighting the entire passage. That's hard for some students to do, really hard to do. Okay, Preston.
For number 1, editing text to better understand writers' ideas and messages.
Editing? Did you say editing? Say it again.
Editing text to better understand writers' ideas and messages.
Jack, can you talk about editing? What does that mean when you guys say editing text for number 1?
Well, it's pretty much just like adding on to it, changing it,
Okay, because I'm thinking of editing like conventions, or
Note-taking.
punctuation. So you're thinking note-taking, adding on, like an editor might do?
Yeah.
Okay, that works, okay? Editing for conventions, I'm like, I'm wondering what direction they're going with that. Okay, what else? Haven't heard anyone say why, okay, why we're doing this. We also have this one, synthesize key details. What's the word synthesize mean? Josh?
For number 3, it's write a summary based on the key details and evidence.
Yeah, now this I put, this is tied to the Common Core. Okay, so I look at the Common Core standards and the essential learnings for Puyallup School District, and I write them, okay, to kind of capture the information. I synthesize the information. They used objective summary, so it's not just a summary. Can anyone tell me what an objective summary is? Because it's key in terms of what I'm asking you to do. Yeah, Gabe?
It's summarizing the whole passage.
What's objective mean though?
Oh.
That's key, yeah, summarize, and if you're summarizing the whole passage, what does that mean, Gabe?
It's when you take details from certain parts of the passage and put it into a paragraph.
Yeah, kind of giving the gist of it, right? So it's gonna be a longer passage, you kind of get the gist of it. Yeah, Jordan?
Does an objective mean no biases?
Good, write that down in your notes. If you did not analyze this, it's objective summary, no bias, just a neutral tone. Okay, you're reporting the facts, essentially. I read this text, okay, and this is what the author wrote. So it's an objective summary, no bias. That means your opinion, your analysis is not in a summary. If it is, then it's a different type of writing that you're doing. So it's free from bias. Good, Jordan. Sean?
I think you also wanted us to just write a summary with the main ideas. So, like you said, the gist.
Yeah, and main ideas, key ideas. What, do you know what the word synthesize means?
To create and
He's doing this, which I know exactly, because I know what the word means, to create, so you're gonna identify main ideas in the text, and then you're gonna do what with it? What's synthesize? Create what, Sean?
put it together.
Yeah, you have to pull it together. How do you pull it together?
You put the key details in there in order, and then you take those two details and you put them into bigger main ideas. So if two details could support the same evidence, then you could put them into a main idea.
That you have to come up with. How do all of these ideas go together? Nice. Why? Why are we doing this?
Like, why are we writing it down?
So no, why would I have us working on this? Out of everything that we could be working on, why do you think this is important? Okay, so you know what it is, we just talked about it. Why is it important in terms of the now as well as your future? Okay, what do you think, Chelsea?
You said that annotating forces us to kind of think about what we're reading instead of just racing over it.
Good. Notes. Add, if you hadn't thought of that, if you don't have why, annotating forces you to slow down instead of just kind of research and really think about what you are reading. Olivia?
We use like summaries in science, so we have to go through the information.
Absolutely. Your content area teachers are asking me. Make sure they know how to write a summary. They are going to be assessing you on your ability to write a summary. It's only fair that you know exactly what I've told them, this is what they should be doing at the 9th grade level. Okay? And hopefully it's been building from 7th to 8th in the work that you've been doing, and it's not something that's completely brand new. Okay? But your content area teachers are asking me, make sure that they know how to write a summary. Olivia mentioned science. Is there any other content that you are summarizing your learning? Connor?
In social studies, when we take our PowerPoint notes.
Yep, good. Ruben?
In algebra,
How in algebra?
we summarize what we learned in the lesson before.
Good. Okay. Yeah, Harrison.
Yeah, in algebra we do that. And on a test, we're gonna have to like write a summary. And then it says.
4th grade.
Could, even in math? Look at that. Look at her. She's amazing. What about in those of you who are used to or know Cornell Notes, and I know Hopkins has you use Cornell Notes all the time, where does summary come in play with some, if you're an avid, okay, if you're in social studies, where does the summary part really play a key? And why, what happens to your brain when you're asked to summarize something? Josh?
Well, so after, like, doing all the core elements, we, summarize all the sections that she has, components of.
Good.
And then we,
Yep. And it makes you synthesize and look at the bigger picture of ideas. It, okay, basically encapsulates the entire learning that you've done. Okay.
And piggybacking off of Josh's thing, like, she also, I'm not sure if he said it. She also, we also summarize each topic and put it into the summary, so it's like a summary.
Lots of summary, good. Okay, Olivia.
We also use it in drama to summarize plays.
Nice, good. Okay, now I'm walking around just kind of more the front. Okay, so I'm seeing particularly Chase a lot, but look at Kaylee's. Okay, I've got a couple colors there. She's not showing by showing her hand, but she's actively participating and listening by adding on to her notes. Okay, some of you I walk by, there's nothing added. Okay, I used Rubens to show you what's going to distinguish those different levels. So you're working again, okay, to show me evidence of your ability to discuss, to critically think, okay, synthesize the information, and adding on to your notes. Okay, so just remember that. Chase has got half a page done, okay, in red ink already. All right, you're going to stay with this partner, and I want you to add on to your notes. Okay, so here's 2 questions that I want you to talk about. Number 1, reflect on your junior high experiences. Junior high, not just 9th grade, 7th, 8th, and 9th. What teachers and or which subjects have you been taught or assessed on your ability to write a summary? So all of your junior high, taking notes, okay? However, whatever that means to you. And then number 2, what's easy about writing a summary and what are the challenges? Okay, so talking with your current elbow partner, table partner, these are your 2 topics, okay? Stay focused on the topics, okay? And capture it in notes. Go ahead and talk. Yeah, that would be number
In this game class, summarizing the articles, summary, in every chapter,
back in that original color, thank you.
I used it as habit. It was also for notes, which were new. That's what you said? Yeah. Do it on math for lessons. Yeah, that's true. And then I did it last year and the year before that with English and Spanish. Same with and then what was
Oh yeah. Oh yeah, last year and this year.
so I like English, science,
And this year. Science. Required. We were required to write.
gonna get graded on
Every Monday.
this is, I think she said that for my class, but I don't know.
I get a text. She assigned this.
We have to
If you have not yet, please move to number 2.
She didn't.
Okay, number 2. What's easy about it and what's difficult?
She did. Dan was asking. Okay, so what is easy about writing a summary? Instead of easy. Things that are easy about the summary are, I guess, all you have to do is summarize what you've already written. So like, you have all the facts already, you just have to summarize it.
What else? You don't have to like it's more paraphrasing.
Yeah. So it's like you have it that you don't have to use your own ideas.
It's looking back over what's not original.
Okay, let me have your attention, you guys. So there's 1 minute till lunch, and I want you, as you walk out, to give me your research folder. Okay, so find your research folder, okay, the manila folder with your name. I want to collect that. We're going to be working with that tomorrow when we go up to the library, so I want to collect them and see where you're at with that. So as you walk out, okay, you're going to, or Thursday, okay, give me your research folder. We'll come back to this right after lunch. So find your folder. When you were talking with your elbow partner, the first one. What is easy about writing a summary and what are the challenges? So I want you so I want you to start the small group discussion with that question and add on, okay, to your notes. And then the second thing, what are the characteristics of a summary? What does that mean? What are the characteristics of a summary? What do you think, Harrison? How it's formed. Okay, Gabe.
What you used to create.
Good, what you used to create it. Okay, so 2 discussions, moving to small group. Okay, now we've done this before. Think about what I should hear, what I should see. Okay, is there anybody in here that does not remember where you shift when we go to small group? Okay, so
We're not gonna have to, forgot which one.
you're at table, the 3rd table, so just shift over. Okay, anybody else? All right, so go ahead and shift to your small group, okay, and carry on the discussion and adding on to your notes. Remember, you're earning academic discussion credits.
I just talked about it. I did it right in.
You just talked about it?
Yeah.
What do you remember anything you talked about?
I did number 1 and number 2. What's challenging is that you have to go back into the,
Good, see a lot of people adding on. Okay, you're writing in a different color.
go
Everyone
back
should be
into the
participating.
sections, like in social studies, go back into the sections and then finally go in topics.
So number 2. Copy down. Harder said it takes a long time to like edit and write. So, and like there's the pressure, but like it has to be like perfect for your writing.
I said for easy, I said having the short summary is a feature in your studies and going into something that's
Okay, continue discussion for 2 more minutes.
when you're needing to shorten down each detail. It's not very because you don't like depending on how long whatever you're summarizing, it's not your original idea that you came up with. Oh, that was we didn't do that. Yeah, I'm just trying to think now what. It has to be. What is the sermon? It's like it's about the topic. About the topic is just.
Well, if the tenth grade is easy for you.
About one more minute.
I need to have like the key details.
To me, summaries are not easy. Like, they aren't easy. Like, it's just hard to think and stay on topic. Think about it.
All right, go ahead and finish up your conversations. Bring your attention to me. Okay, we're gonna go to
Because it's just
the popsicle call out, and that's your original table where you're sitting at. So just kind of look and see the number that you're at. Okay, when I call your number, you're gonna share something, okay, that your group discussed. It could be your own original idea or something that someone in your group brought up. The rest of you should be adding on to your notes, okay? If there's something that is original idea that you didn't initially capture, okay, with your group. Anybody have questions? All right, so number 10. Who's sitting at number 10? Okay, Zach.
So whichever one.
Pardon?
So I could do that number one.
Yeah, it's just anything that you guys talked about.
Alright, for the easy part of the summary, I said paraphrase because it's just, it's a compiled version of all your notes, it's shorter. And then for the difficult part, it would be how to shorten it down to a abundance of important people.
Now, interesting, because some people say the paraphrase, which is the synthesizing the information, is really challenging. So it really depends on you as a critical thinker and this mode of writing, what you would find this is really challenging, okay, or this is really an easy part.
What did he say was?
Will you repeat, Zach?
All of it?
Yeah.
I said paraphrase, all the details, so it's all compiled together, so it's a bit shorter. Then I said to the challenges, it would be having to broken down a abundance of important information.
Okay. Okay, who's at number 19?
So for what are the characteristics of the summary, we said it's not like you don't write a summary 2 days after, it's usually immediately after you discuss the topic.
Why is that?
Because since you just discussed it, you didn't really forget it, so it's easier to write a summary than it is 2 days later when you probably
Absolutely.
forgot.
Alright, number 34. 34. Okay, Brian.
I put for the characteristics, it's kind of like a description of events.
What do you guys think, the description of the events? I think that lends itself to a different mode of writing than informational. What would be a description of events?
Information.
Yes, okay, Jordan said that would be narrative, and we do write summaries of narratives as well. Okay, when we write a summary of a narrative, which is a story, okay, and we'll be doing narrative writing in the future, but pretty soon, the central idea is called the what in a narrative. Informational or expository, it's central idea. In a narrative, Sean, it's called what? The theme, good. And that's really important that you know. Narrative, if you're on we analyze the data from the SBA, okay, test that students have taken. What you guys did, what test did you guys take as 8th graders? English?
Science?
English, did you do math?
Yeah.
Okay, so with the English test, the results came back that, not 100%, but some students, what they missed on the test was a matter of vocabulary. When the writer is, if you're looking at a narrative text and they're asking you for the main idea, they're really trying to get you to discern the theme of the text. If you're looking at expository writing or informational text, they're looking for the central idea. Okay, so one of the things we made as an English department a goal is really distinguish the vocabulary and use the correct vocabulary that aligns with the test, so that when you come across those questions in the future as a 10th grader and have to pass that test, you know exactly what they're asking. It's a narrative, and they're asking for a theme in the summary, expository or informational, it'll be a central idea. Okay, let's go to one more for popsicle. So who's sitting at number 6? Jack.
You're number 1 or 2.
Either.
I put, well, I didn't finish number 2, and I just put, it was short.
Okay, so that's one characteristic, it's much shorter. What else?
I also put that it was paraphrased.
Okay. Anything else?
No.
Okay, let's open it to full class now. Okay, so full class. Sean and Josh, it looks like you were in the group with Jack. Okay, what else do you want to share?
We found that, so it's a short description of the information in text.
Okay.
And it is able to, it doesn't need the details because all it does is it shows the beginning, middle, and end.
Good, and I heard when I was walking by, Jordan said, oh, what about beginning, middle, and end? Okay, and hopefully her group captured that in their notes as well. So other things with characteristics, and Isabella, are you tracking? Okay, all right, Lizzie.
For the characteristics, I wrote that you like a tag sentence.
Tags, good. Okay, so we've got tags. Do you know what TAG stands for, Lizzie?
Title, author.
Good. Title, author, genre. Then we have an S there. Jacqueline?
Oh, no, I was just gonna, talk about another.
Okay, go ahead.
So for one, I said, what's challenging is that, it's hard knowing which detail is important and not important.
Out of all of them, which one is the most important? All right, Simeon. Simeon's going back to tags, title, author, genre, and he said, does the S stand for sentence? Okay, no. Gabe, do you know? The subject, which is another way of asking for what, Connor?
Style.
No.
Dang it.
Oh, I was just gonna say.
No, tell me your name, I always forget it.
Justice.
Justice.
Using like present tense.
Okay, that's another characteristic. This group back here talked about, oh, does it depend on the teacher whether you write in present or past tense? No, that's an academic rule. You are to write in present tense. And that's one of the challenges. It's real easy to write in past tense because usually it's an article or something that you've done and it feels like, well, it's written in the past tense. It was written in 2004. The author wrote it. And we have to, when we're analyzing or writing a summary, the author writes. We have to stay in present tense. So for some people, that's a challenge. Still going with that S though. Title, author, genre, S. What is S? And Gabe said, well, subject, which is another way to say what? Jordan? Good, central idea. Okay, write that in your notes if you did not initially have that conversation. Title, author, genre, subject, which is central idea, okay, at the piece. Preston?
I think it's hard, but no quotes, no opinions.
Absolutely. No quotes, no opinions, no analysis whatsoever. Ruben?
We talked about how in a summary it's easy because it's not like your original ideas that you're summarizing, it's someone else's.
Someone else's
You don't have to
ideas.
write anything.
Yeah, it's not an original, you don't have to have creativity, you don't have to come up with your own original thoughts. Bailey?
What's easy is you have like all the information, you have all the ideas, but what's hard is trying to put it all together in your own summary without having too many people or too much.
Good, yeah.
Lots of paraphrase.
Paraphrasing. Is that challenging or easy for you? Easy? Okay, easy. All right, if you're still with your group, and most of you are, slide back to your original spot. Go back to your original color, whatever you're writing in. And what I'd like you to do now is to take notes on, okay, the general information I present to you that you didn't have either with your partner or in small group. So do not merely write it down if it's something that's already in your notes. Okay, so you don't have to do double, but if it's like, oh, we didn't talk about that, add it to your notes. In your composition notebook, if you can write class discussion, okay, no, just go lecture notes, Okay, and underneath it, just however you take your notes, based upon summary. one of the key things is what Isabella said, you must write in present tense. So that's one thing that you might have thought, well, it depends on the teacher. So it's that type of thing. All right, so the first thing, features. Okay, we're going to talk about the features of a summary and their characteristics. Okay, some of you mentioned this. It's short. If you were to write this in your notes, how could you put number 1 and write it even shorter than it is short? What's key information there? Yeah, okay, short. Okay, these are notes. You don't have to write in keys, whole full sentence. You don't have to copy the slide. Okay, so make sure that you're looking at the information and it works for you, okay, in terms of your notes. Okay, the second thing, it's written in your own words. Some of you said that. Summaries are written in your own words. In fact, Ruben said that's the thing that is nice because you don't have to come up with your own original ideas or creativity. Okay, it's based upon someone else's. Okay, number 3. In informational text, the summary focuses on the blank of the text. Who can fill in the blank? Let's see, I'll just wait until, raise your hand if you know what goes in that blank. And then I'm going to call in someone who's comfortable with giving it. How would you fill in the blank there? Okay, so we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Even if you have a guess, go ahead and raise your hand. Okay, so we have probably a little bit more than half. Keep your hand up if you don't mind me calling on you and you're wrong. Okay, although what's the big deal? Okay, Gabe.
Main idea.
Good. Okay, so the main idea or central idea. Okay, so informational text, central idea. We go to the next one. We talked about this in literary. How would you, raise your hand if you can fill in the blank for this one. So informational, we've got central idea or main idea. Number 2 goes into literary text. We've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Okay. Gabe's like, oh, maybe. Fewer with this one. Keep your hand up if you don't mind me calling on you, and you might be wrong. Ryan? Not topic? Theme. Literary is another word for what?
Story.
Story, narrative. Okay, so number 3, informational text. Main idea, central idea. Number 2, literary text is narrative text. Again, we're going to talk about that in the terms, the academic vocabulary that goes with that mode of writing in the future. Okay. But literary text equals narrative text. Informational text equals expository text. Okay, specifics. Okay, so anything that you don't have in your notes already, here are the specifics. Okay, number 1, when you write a summary, you use third person. He, she, or it. So third person. That suggests there are a couple other different points of view you could write in, but not for a summary. Who knows the other 2 points of view? We've got third person.
First person?
First person. What pronouns would be used for first person? I, me, my. Why would you not use I, me, or my in a summary? How does it connect to what we've already talked about? Olivia? It would be an opinion. Okay, so you do not use, I read an article in a summary. Then we go, what's the other point of view? We've got third. We've talked about first, third. What's the other one? Olivia?
It's second person.
What pronouns would you use for you, your? So with a summary, you write in third person. He, she, they, maybe if it's plural. Okay, number 2, this is what Isabella said. You use present tense verbs. So it's important that you know when you're in science, you use present tense verbs. Social studies, present tense verbs. Math, present tense verbs. English, present tense. There isn't a rule based upon the subject. It's all present tense verbs. So there's one in parentheses. You use explains. That's present tense, not explained. Right underneath number 2, I would like you to think about 3 other verbs that are present tense that you might use in a summary and list 3 of them, just on your own, right underneath. Present tense, yeah, make sure you write it in present tense. Envision yourself writing a summary. What are 3 verbs that you could see, oh yeah, I could use this, 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 depending on the text. And make sure you write it in present tense. 3 of them. I'm going to start with Crystalline. Crystalline, I want you to share just one of your verbs. Okay, if you like her verb, add on. So let's make it now, double it. Okay, 6 verbs. Crystalline.
I said
Teaches.
shows.
Shows. Justifies. Informs.
Teaches.
Okay, teaches. Anyone got an original verb? Yeah, Gabe. Explains. Hugo. Describes. Says. Analyzes. Illustrates. Identifies. Daniel. Explores.
Oh, I said work, not work.
Works.
Not work.
Okay. Works though? Yeah. Would that be a verb that you would use in writing a summary? How?
If you're describing, like, if you write something on a machine, you can talk about how it works.
Oh, what do you guys think about that?
You could say,
How could it work, Sean?
it could be your verb for your idea, so you could say, this article by whoever works to
Oh, yeah. Works to
fix or.
explain, describe, blah, blah, blah. Yeah. Persuades. Ruben?
Clarifies.
Clarifies. You should have 6. Okay, Emma, you have another? Defines. Okay, so 6 good verbs. Okay, number 3, include only key details. Only key details. Some of you said that's the challenging part. You have to discern what's key and what's not. What's a main idea and what's just another supporting detail. Number 4, some of you mentioned this, you do not use quotes. Except for a word or a short phrase that's critical to the summary. You're not pulling textual evidence from the text in a summary. You're paraphrasing. Number 5, include transitions. What's the importance of transitions in writing? What's the purpose of them? Preston? Yep, so that's fluency. So if you didn't know that, with number 5, if you write down transitions, that's for fluency. So when you're reading the paragraph, it flows. There are transitions that make your writing more choppy, and transitional devices that make it flow a little bit more. When we get to that, I'm expecting you guys to use transitional devices when you write your summary, so the fluency is not first, second, third. That would make it choppy. So we're going to use different transitions to make the fluency more academic, more sophisticated. Do not include analysis or commentary. Connor, what does that mean? Analysis or commentary?
Like, your thoughts on it?
Yep. And someone earlier said, get your opinion. Okay? You avoid an opinion in a summary. So Connor said, your thoughts on it. Summary, that's not the place to analyze, okay, or give your opinion on, okay, the claim or idea. And then in a summary, it sounds kind of strange, but you don't include a concluding sentence. So there's no, finally, last, the author, anyone know why you wouldn't have a concluding sentence? Sean?
Because I think you want people to actually go and read the article.
Okay, what would a writer have a tendency to do in that last sentence? There you go. Okay, so if you have your summary will include the beginning, middle, and end of an article. If you have a last, like a concluding sentence, okay, where you're not just focused on the end of the text, you feel like you have to have some big concluding, what ends up happening is a writer will have analysis or your opinion. So we're just going to have a sentence from the beginning, the middle, and the end. And it's going to feel like, well, okay, we need to have something more. We're just staying objective. This is what the writer does. Preston.
Also, you don't want to end, like maybe for a book, if you're reading the summary, so you can see if you want to read it, you don't want to like know specifically when things happen. You want to kind of lead into when you start reading.
Yeah, and most importantly with the learning target, remember we want to remain objective. Okay, and what does that mean again? An objective summary of the text. Yeah, no bias. You remain neutral. You're just presenting what the author presented in their text. Okay, so questions. In your blue folder, Okay, you are going to find a text entitled Voices in Defense of Making Friends Online by Samantha English. It's yellow. You'll also find a worksheet that's entitled Writing a Summary, and it's white.
Bears.
I'll just go I know.
All right, so if you look at the screen up here,
I fell asleep.
the good news is, okay, on the summative assessment, you can use any of your practice or notes. My job is to, when we get to the summative, you're not going to even feel like you need them. Okay, so we'll have enough practice, a lot of formative practice with articles where you feel like I've got this, I know what to do. Okay, but if you take really good, thorough notes and you've got some good models, okay, you will be able to use them on the summative assessment. When do you think I might give you a summative assessment on summary writing?
After our summary,
After what summary?
summary that we're gonna be doing.
After just the summary on this?
The research.
What are some other guesses? Connor?
Next week.
Next week, it seems kind of random. That's kind of random. When would I give a summative assessment? What makes logical sense as a teacher?
When we're
Wait, hold on. Ruben, what do you think?
After practice with the before?
And show what? Exactly. I cannot at this point give you, this is when the summative assessment will be, because I need to make sure that you understand and you are at the place where it's fair to give you a summative assessment on a summary. We've done lots of practice, some modeling, you have opportunity to answer lots of questions if you have them. When you're ready, there'll be a summative assessment. You have your notes, we'll have lots of practice. Okay, so we're not going to take out our planner right now and go, okay, let's record, this will be the day of the summative assessment. It depends on you and the needs of the class overall. Does that make sense to you guys? Okay, so this might be the only practice we need. We might do this and go, oh, they're still using past tense verbs. They're still doing, and maybe we need a second, okay, article. So it depends on the class as a whole when you guys are ready, where it's like, I've got this. All right, so the very first thing, if you look at the white page, this gives you a breakdown exactly what you do when you are asked to write a summary. We're going to walk through this with this text. So I need you to make sure that your name, first and last, okay, is written on both of them. These are your copies. So first and last name, go ahead and record the date as well. Both on the right, the white paper and the yellow paper. I knew there must have been the same thing you did. Crystalline, you said yellow? All right, so the very first thing you can see on the white page, can you see this one? Up at the top where it says preview and mark the text, number the paragraphs, circle the numbers, names of people, blah, blah, blah. We're doing number 1, okay, with this text. So I need you to number the paragraphs. You could if you want to. Harrison said, do we need to circle the numbers? I said, if you want to. Anybody done with numbering the paragraphs? Okay, how many are there? There are 16. There should be 16. If you're off 16, make sure you check with your partner, your table partner, or with me, how your numbers got misconstrued in terms of the correct numbers of paragraphs. There are 16.